Welcome to Inside Mount Washington Valley Education. This show was developed to provide information about educational programming throughout the Mount Washington Valley. My name is Bob Godomsky. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Schools for SAU 9, and today's program is centered around the guidance program at Kennett High School. I'd like to welcome Jen Murphy, the Director of Guidance at Kennett High School, and also the Director of Guidance for the Conway School District. Jen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Jen, could you start us off by just talking about a little bit about what's taking up your time now at this time of year in the Guidance Department at Kennett High School?
Sure. Back in March, we started the scheduling process for the 2012-2013 school year. So we invited the 8th graders to come and visit the high school in the evening with their parents and share with them the importance of picking classes for their transition to the high school. We also have given the course selection sheets to the current 9th through 11th graders, and they are picking their schedule. So this is really the start of making the master schedule for next year. We are also meeting individually with students at this point to make sure that we're reviewing what they've currently done and where they want to go after high school, and making sure that the plans for in the classes that they're taking right now are going to help them for their post-secondary plans.
Sure. Now, I know that there's a great difference between what a guidance counselor does at the elementary school and the middle school and what a guidance counselor does at the high school. Could you speak a little bit about the services that your office provides for students at Kennett High School?
Sure. We, like the elementary and middle school counselors, we deal with students academically, personal, social issues. But at the high school, we really have to also focus on progression towards graduation. At the high school, students earn credit for each class that they have taken and passed, and they need to earn 25 of those credits in various areas to meet the graduation requirements set out by the state. We even require a few more credits than the state does. So that academic piece takes up a lot of our time, as well as the personal social stuff that may come up on a regular basis, and crisis counseling as well.
Now, I know that the student body at Kennett High School is divided between the guidance counselors that are there, so you can provide more assistance one-on-one and small group assistance for students. Could you talk a little bit about what's a typical caseload for a guidance counselor at the high school, and what are some of the services that a counselor would meet with kids and give them services one-on-one for?
Sure. At the freshman level, we have 3 teams, so students come in and they're divided up by team. So there's about 80 students per team. So at the freshman level, a counselor is tied to one of those 3 teams. They stay with their students all through high school. I really am a firm believer in creating relationships with students, and I think the best way to do that is to be part of their lives for all 4 years. So 9 through 12, there's about 270 students on a counselor's caseload. They provide constant checking of grades and progression, as I mentioned before, to graduation. If there is an issue with a staff member, counselors work with students to create a solution, and so both sides can come to an agreement. If there's something going on at home or outside of school, we would work individually with the student to help them solve that problem,
Sure.
or at least come up with a way so that they can cope with it better, making sure that we try and help them understand that everything in their life could be impacting their education, and that is our main focus, is to at least give them coping skills so that when they come to high school they can focus on their academics.
So those 270 students stay with that guidance counselor for the 4 years at Kennett High School, so they really form a rapport, and the counselors get to know the kids on an individual basis.
Yes, yes.
That's terrific. How about things that the guidance department does for all students every year? What are some of those examples?
Excuse me. We, every quarter, progress report time, we're going through students' grades, making sure that they're progressing as they need to academically. We go into classrooms and at each level and continue to help students understand that what they're doing at the high school and what they're learning is really going to set them up for what their options are after high school. So we also monitor that. We help them with future planning. That ties into scheduling. And again, as needed, personal counseling and crisis counseling, really to help them cope and focus on what they're doing during the school day.
Right. Now, how would parents get involved in this whole process? If they have a question, or if they have a concern, or if they just want to help the guidance department provide better services, how could a parent get involved in what the guidance program does at the high school?
We firmly feel like parents are our team player. We need them to help us in our mission, and our mission aligns with their mission, which is to help their child get educated and have a plan for after high school. So if a parent is concerned about their child's emotional well-being, a phone call, an email, so much of their time is spent at school, but a lot of their time is also spent outside of school, and that's a piece that we don't know unless a parent calls and lets us know.
Right.
Then we can get a better picture of what's going on for the whole child, and it will help us come up with ideas and interventions and solutions, so again their focus can be academics when they're at school. Parents can also help in letting us know when there's an issue in more than one class. So if it's a broader issue than just one class the student's having struggle in, we really hope that a parent would contact the teacher, and we can help with that. But really our focus is more of how we can help if there's a bigger issue. And phone calls and emails all the time, we welcome them. We want them to be part of what's going to help the student succeed.
Right. So if there's any information that a parent has, obviously they spend a lot of time with their children. If there's a concern, if there's something that their child is having a difficult time with, whether it's socially or academically, good idea to just give you a call and an FYI, or ask a question on what you can provide. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
So how about the freshmen? We have a lot of transitions here in the Valley. I know that the high school has kids arriving from Bartlett. They have kids arriving from Kennett Middle School. We have kids arriving at the high school from Tamworth to K.A. Brett School. A lot of transitions coming into one area. What does the guidance department do for the freshman class? A little bit on transitions, and when do you start working with the freshman class?
Yeah. We really start working with them in March. It is the Brett School in Tamworth, Bartlett, Kennett Middle School, and we also have increasingly in the last few years seen a lot of students from the Waldorf School needing to come. So we start with the course selection sheet, is course selection for next school year really in March. That's our first conversation with the 8th graders. From there, we go down to the middle school. Once they've gotten their course selection sheet and program of studies, we go down. Each counselor spreads out, and we hit each middle school, allowing, excuse me, allowing the opportunity for students to ask questions, because a lot of students worry about coming to the high school. A lot of parents worry about their child coming to a big high school where there's close to 900 students,
Sure.
particularly if they're coming from a school where there's only 30 students in their class. So we really try and reach out to help allay the anxiety of families and students by just being there, getting into the middle schools. So so we do the course selection sheet, go down to the middle schools to help answer questions about different classes. We, in years past, have done an 8th grade dance, so really that can be the first time that for next year, the 2016 students are all in one location, and help them kind of create an identity of a class.
I know there's been other things like athletic events up there for incoming, the 8th graders are going into 9th grade, trying to hold athletic events up there, inviting kids from the middle school to come to things like plays and drama presentations. All of those things, I would assume, just get the kids more comfortable with the physical layout, and because you're right, I mean, kids are going from a 200 or 300 student school into a setting that's 900. So I would assume all of those things, parents can certainly help their kids out by doing some of those as well.
Absolutely. And there's always stuff going on, it seems like, in the auditorium, with musicals and concerts and sporting events, exactly. And the sooner that students can come with their families and start to feel comfortable on campus, I think the better the transition will be for those students.
Sure. So parents and kids that aren't yet at the high school, they're always welcome to those events, after-school activities and the athletic events and all of those other things as well. So
Yep.
That's a great way to get them acclimated and comfortable coming in. Another thing I hear about freshmen is that the guidance department does college visitations where freshmen can go. And one of the things that I hear from parents is, isn't that too early? Why are you doing visitations for freshmen? Could you speak a little bit to that?
Sure. Once they are our students at the high school, counselors do go into the classrooms pretty much in September, October, and help explain to the freshmen what the difference is, like you asked me before, between middle school, elementary school, and high school. We educate them on what a credit is and how you earn credits, and how to make your high school experience as beneficial for you as possible by getting involved in sports and clubs, and explaining all of that to them so they understand the difference of what the guidance office at the high school can help them with versus what they've experienced so far. So we do that in September and October. Right now we're planning the career unit that we go back into the classrooms and we remind students of the conversation that we had back in September. We work through a program that helps students identify their career interests, align that with their skills and abilities, and from there, the program that we use, it gives out careers that fit their interests and their abilities. From there, we have them narrow down the careers to about 2 or 3, and we then take them on a college visit. So our hope is that they're picking one of the 3 colleges that we'll be going to this year, Plymouth, St. Anselm's, and New Hampshire Institute of Art, that one of the careers that came out for them of their interests a program is offered at one of those schools. The purpose of going is really to help them understand that college is different than high school, and that if they see alumni from Kennett that succeeding on a college campus, they might be able to say to themselves, wow, if this person is able to be successful and have made it to college, I certainly can.
Sure.
And at the freshman year, there's still plenty of time for them, if they've made mistakes in that first year, to rectify those mistakes and start paying more attention to their academics. It's somebody had once said it's like a puzzle. So we help them see and fill in that puzzle now before they actually are heading that way.
Sure. So it just gets them an early start, so there aren't any surprises. It's just very successful all the way through.
Right. And everybody talks about college, and I have found in my work that it's kind of this like idea, and nobody really gets a good understanding of what college has to offer until you start putting your feet on campus. So if we can help students do that their freshman year, when it comes time to junior year, when they really start narrowing down their choices and looking at their options, it's not such an overwhelming feeling.
Right.
Again, it's a transition, and the more that we can help prepare them for that transition, if that's starting in the 9th grade, I think the more success we'll see when it comes time for it to be real.
Right. Now, I've heard about the Junior Black Book. Sounds kind of ominous. Can you tell me a little bit about what the Junior Black Book is all about?
When I came to Kennett, I felt like there's so much when it comes time to planning for your life after high school. There are various options. There's going to a community college, there's going into the military, there's taking a year off, and going on to a 4-year school. And there's so many pieces, parts of that process where students could fall behind by missing a deadline or not understanding what's coming at them. So the guidance department created a black book. We chose the black book because those are our school colors. Yep. It's a 3-ring binder that we give to every single one of our juniors. So when we meet with them, we go over credits, what they're thinking about studying in college, if that's their route. And in that black book, we have enough information in there to overwhelm anybody, but at least they have it in their hands. So there's information about students who plan to just go into the workforce. We give sample resumes and sample cover letters. If students are planning on going into the military, we list out contacts in the military who they should be getting a hold of, questions that they should be asking a recruiter. So they're making an educated decision. And then we have a ton of stuff on 2-year and 4-year colleges. Things like timelines. So when should you be taking the SATs, and when should you be applying? When should you be visiting? And then once we get into senior year, we list out a calendar so that students can stay on track, give them information about letters of recommendation and who they should be asking those for. Essay, how do you write a college essay? Sure. If you're planning on continuing athletics on a college campus, what do you need to do in high school so that you can be prepared for sending your transcript? A whole bunch of stuff that colleges and military and post-secondary schools are going to want you to have planned. We also this year included some financial aid stuff in that binder. We do have financial aid evenings, but we felt like having something on paper would not only help the students but help families as well. And we even included a section for students with learning disabilities this year because they need to be very careful about schools that they pick.
So if parents parents of junior students have never heard of the Black Book, ask about it, make sure you understand what's in it, read it over.
Yeah.
Important.
Very important. And they take it with them. And I've made sure that I give the black books that have pockets in them because at this point in their junior year, they're getting a ton of mailings from schools. And so it's a great place to take all of that, all of the mailings that you're getting and stuff it in one place. So, maybe they're not at that place yet to really start investigating schools, but when they do get there, everything is all in one place.
We certainly know that 4-year colleges are very important and an option for quite a few of our students. What does the guidance department do for students that might not be the track that they want to go, whether it's a vocational or military? What does the guidance department do to assist some of those kids with other choices? We
really let the student take the lead. We do not feel that pushing every student to go to a four-year college is what's right for them. So when we do meet with them individually, that's the first question, is what are you thinking about doing after high school? And if a student says, well, I'm thinking about going into the military, then we work from there. So next week we have somebody coming to administer the ASVABs, so which is a military battery of tests that's required from the, for military. If they're interested in just continuing into the workforce, we have a ton of information about different options. So really, it's just taking the lead of what the student is thinking about doing.
Sure. So if a student is confused and they may be thinking that, you know, overwhelmed with a four-year college, come and see the guidance department and ask those questions about what else is out there, and that's certainly something that the guidance department can assist them with.
Yeah, and next week we're also having a mini college fair. So we're having about 11 schools, both two-year and four-year schools. We've also asked a person from the Council of Professionals to come. They have a ton of information about certificate programs all around the state of New Hampshire for LNAs and all kinds of different programs that really students at this point, with the cost of tuition out there, can get a certification and end up making some decent money if they continue to pursue a four-year option after their certificate program.
Sure. So the important point is that kids continue to grow after high school. That's the important piece of the whole thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's really what they want to do, and these days just having a high school diploma in certain careers is not enough.
Right.
And for some careers it is, but really just listening to their ideas and supporting what they want is how we go about it.
Great. Now, how about, we know that the guidance department is responsible for all of our children and helping them out. How about support for parents? What types of things do you provide for parents as far as resources and parent evenings and informational evenings and those types of things?
Well, we've already talked about the 8th grade orientation evening. So really we start at the 8th grade. As I mentioned, this next week we're having our junior evening. Last year we started a different idea for the junior parent night. We really felt like we should be utilizing our own resources. So we asked current senior parents to come and speak to the junior parents about the process that they had just gone through. So it's a panel event. This year we're having 3 parents and their students come and speak to the juniors and their parents. We also have a senior night right at the beginning of the school year to really nail down these are the things that you really need to be focusing on and helping your child get through between now and December of their senior year. We have financial aid night. We also, in the last few years, have been able to work with the New Hampshire Higher Education Association Foundation. They've come and actually sat one-on-one with our senior parents when it's come time to fill out the financial aid federal forms, so that parents are coming in, bringing their tax information, sitting down at a computer, and by the time they leave the high school, their federal application for student aid is filled out and done. We've gotten feedback that that's been really helpful because those forms can be confusing and frustrating. And then we also, once students are hearing that they've been accepted to schools, part of that acceptance, they're getting financial aid packages from the school. So we also hold an evening that another person from New Hampshire Higher Education Association Foundation will come and help parents look at the different financial aid packages that they're getting from schools, because some schools will call a scholarship one thing, but
Sure.
Another
sure.
school will call it a grant, and really trying to help them make apples to apples, and so that an educated decision can be made, knowing what money they're getting, and covering the gap.
Right. Now, I know the senior year can be very stressful because you've got the unknown after graduation. How do you help the seniors specifically go through the senior year and manage everything that's on their plate?
Yeah, we start in we start in junior year, but really come senior year, we find that some students over that summer have had that awareness that, oh my God, I really need to start doing something. So come September, we meet individually with seniors, double check their credits, make sure that they are scheduled in the courses that they need to graduate. We, again, have hoped that they have taken what we've expressed to them when they get their junior book and really have come to us with a clear understanding of what they're thinking about doing after high school. So if they have selected some colleges, we talk about, all right, so let's make a plan. When are the deadlines for application, and kind of laying that out, and who have you asked for letters of recommendation, and how are you getting help for your essay, and really just keep at them. And all throughout senior year, just meeting with them individually and making sure that they are up on track, and giving them support that way.
Sure. How about students that may be going through a difficult time for whatever reason? What are some interventions that you utilize that will help those kids that may be at risk for a period of time?
Well, it really depends on what's going on. So if they're having academic issues, then we would have a different set of interventions than if they were struggling with something in their personal life. So academically, we've really worked with the teachers to come up with new ideas of how to meet students where they're at, staying after school, getting extra help, tutoring, peer tutoring from the National Honor Society students. If it's something personally, we meet with them as many times as they need to, but if it feels like that what's going on is bigger than what we can handle, we will likely get the parents involved and express, our professional opinion that maybe some additional support outside of school is needed.
So if there's any concerns that parents might have or questions on outside counseling or something like that, or academic, a good rule of thumb is call the guidance department, have that discussion?
Yeah. Again, it's another area where we need them as much as they need us, and we want, the ultimate thing is for students to be successful in all areas of their life. And so we want their help and their knowledge and their support, and if they have questions about resources in the Valley, we can help them find what's going to work for them.
Sure, and I know there are a lot of sensitive issues that everyone has in their personal life, and calling the school sometimes is a little intimidating. Could you talk just briefly about confidentiality and how that weighs into being a guidance counselor?
Sure. If a parent calls and says, I need to tell you something, but it needs to stay confidential, our policy is that we will keep everything confidential. There are 3 exceptions, and they all revolve around personal safety and safety of others. So if at any point we feel like that somebody's in danger, we need to break that confidentiality.
Sure. Safety is job 1.
Exactly. But for every other reason, we do our best to keep things confidential. We have become masters of vague language and letting teachers know that there's something going on, and they may need a little extra support here or a little extra support this way, so that we're again trying to focus students on being successful academically.
Sure. So the confidentiality and is basically a need-to-know basis on letting the staff know just what they need to know, and the rest of it's confidential between the student and the guidance counselor.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, we're starting to run out of time. I'd like to take a few minutes just to thank Jen for showing up and providing us information about the guidance department. If you have any other questions on the guidance department at Kennett High School, please either call the high school or access their website. I know the email lists are on there as well. As always, if you want any other information on any of the school systems in the Mount Washington Valley, if you get on SAU9, www.sau9.org, you can gain information on the SAU and the school boards, as well as attaching links to all of our schools. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us on Inside the Mount Washington Valley Education.